The Blokebusters podcast is a proud member of the Pod Bros Network.
You can find us as well as other fine shows such as
Sarcasm City,
That's Delightful,
Worst Millennials,
The Ectoplasm Show,
and Late Night Gamers at podbros.com.
Now get ready to sit back and enjoy another episode of the Blokebusters podcast.
Tonight's story is somewhat unique and calls for a different kind of introduction.
Police gone off! Today we are canceling the apocalypse!
Wait a minute. You ain't heard nothing yet.
And this is?
Lilu Dallas Multipass.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Houston, we have a problem.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Now, where was I?
Welcome to episode 101 of the Blokebusters podcast. I'm Paul.
And I'm Brian.
And today we're going to be talking about Black Panther. So,
Wakanda forever!
Yes. But first, get our social media out of the way real quick. Just going to cut it down to a couple here. We're on Twitter and Instagram, probably some of the best places to get a hold of us. Just search Blokebusters, we're right there. And this time around, we realised that two roughly middle-aged white men were probably not the best people to give you an in-depth discussion about Black Panther without getting, I don't know, like 2 bushels full of hate mail, I'm sure. So we figured we would get back.
Oh, like we're popular enough to get that much. Okay.
Well, I like to think we are, right? But yeah, so we figured we would get our good friend B-Rob back to help us talk about this one. How are you doing, sir?
I am all right. I wasn't going to say anything about...
Just being called out for being our token, so...
Yeah, I guess.
I wasn't going to say... Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just like, oh, man, we're going to talk about a good movie.
Yeah, see, Paul, you had to go... Yeah.
Well, yes, but come on. We had Nora and Colleen on to talk about Wonder Woman. I figured it was only right to have someone that would...
well, it's just, 3 different experiences regardless. So,
exactly.
Congratulations for elapsing the 100 episodes.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's, of our feature episodes. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, it was quite something when we were coming up to the 100th, and we figured out what we were going to do, and then I looked back through the iTunes, and we were at about 165. So it was like, oh, are we going to call this out? Nah, I don't care.
Yeah. And I also realized how much of we are not that asshole Chris Hardwick, because he's done like 700 in the same amount of time. But
no shit.
But he's also making a lot of money from doing that. So
yeah, it's just like you do one episode weekly or however or whatever, and then I see people that have been around, less amount of time to me, and they got like damn near 200 episodes. I'm like, how did this happen?
I know. Yeah, some people either have a huge amount of disposable income.
Yeah, I would like to make the quality over quantity argument, but I don't know if we can make that one either. So
we can try.
Yeah. All right, but we are here today to talk about Black Panther.
Black Panther.
Yeah.
Not the Black Panthers. Sorry if you somehow downloaded this thinking it would be that, but we are nowhere near qualified for that.
Yeah, me neither.
No.
Yes, well, that was the royal we there. So. But yes, Black Panther, directed by Ryan Coogler. A budget of, and I did say this to Brian when we were looking this up, something that you would never hear someone say 15 years ago, only $200 million.
It's quite a bargain.
No shit.
And apparently about 150 million was spent on the marketing for it, which I understand, but as I was saying a while ago, I do think that's a little high at the point because it's a Marvel film. Who's not going to see it when it comes out?
But also I think the pressure for this it was going to be huge, but I think they wanted to guarantee that it was going to be huge.
Yes, and the box office, let's see if they succeeded there. As of 17 days after release, worldwide, $897,705,037. I think they succeeded.
It's also the third weekend of all time. I was reading behind, I think, like Avatar and Force Awakens. I think for like the third weekend, it's still making like what any self-respecting, successful movie would call a great opening weekend.
Yes.
I think it's like 65 or close to 70 or something again it made.
Yeah, it's
this weekend, for future listeners, the third weekend it's been out. Yeah.
Yes. And looking up Box Office Mojo here real quick, it was roughly 242 million the first, 111 the third, and 65.7 estimated for this one, and that is just domestic. So this film.
So
has
safe
done
to
well.
say, yes, successful. Just
Yes,
so
it
you
is.
put a good movie together. Black characters, white characters, whatever. You make a good movie, and you have different experiences and things that people want. They want that content. And repeated viewings are so up on this film. Like, I've talked to lots of people that have seen it 2 times, 3 times in the theater. I just saw it for the 3rd time yesterday. I want to go see it a couple more times in the theater if I can. I am the Philip Fry gift. Take my money. Please take my money. So
and all this can be extremely accessible through MoviePass. You go to MoviePass.com.
Yeah,
very true.
I'm trying to get y'all some sponsors over here.
Gotcha. Okay, we appreciate it.
We'll let you know if you succeeded.
Yeah. So I'm not really going to go well, first of all, if this is one of your first times with us, we are a spoiler cast, so we do talk about all elements of the film, including ending, and with Marvel, obviously, any post-credits. So if you, for some reason, have missed out on those or, don't want to be spoiled yet, pause.
Yes.
Get your ass out and watch Black Panther and then resume play.
Caesar dies.
And then also get a hold of us, because I would love to know who the person is that listens to in-depth reviews of film before deciding to go and see it. Because I couldn't do that.
The only cast I listen to where I want to hear the review and not see the movies, how did this get made? Because I don't want to put myself through the horrible movie usually, unless it's horrible.
I do the same thing. If it's a movie that I'm on the fence about, that I'm not 100% sure that I want to go see, I'll listen to other people talk about it before I go.
It's I don't care about getting spoiled on it. Yeah, absolutely. But anything I care about, obviously, I guess. So, so we really don't need to go too in depth on the plot just yet here. I think
stuff happens.
Amazing stuff happens. But I will try to get through a really quick reading of the cast list here. There's so many awesome people to mention, and but of course we have. Leading things off, Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa, aka Black Panther,
AKA James Brown.
Yeah, aka Get On Up,
AKA Thurgood Marshall.
Yes. We also have Michael B. Jordan as Eric Stevens or Killmonger. What's Stevens' last name, I believe?
It was Stevens.
Because he's just listed as Eric Killmonger. Yeah.
AKA Creed, AKA Johnny Storm.
AKA whoever his character was in Vale Station.
Yes, made by the same director of this movie.
Exactly.
And AKA Vegeta to some extent as well, if you like his outfit.
So happy he could really be in a quite successful superhero movie after having to suffer that fantastic loss.
Well, shit, a lot of people forget he was in Chronicle too, right?
Oh yeah, I guess that was Yeah,
I
like that movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have the amazing Lupita Nyong'o as Kia.
Yep.
Love her. Denai, I believe, Guerrera. I don't know if I got it, but she's Okoye. She's in The Walking Dead. People know her from. Martin Freeman as Everett Ross. The fantastic Daniel Kaluuya as Wakabi. So he's going to be on a little program tonight, I believe, as we record this.
Yes.
And I'll be, for the Oscars there. Yeah, so awesome and Get Out. Fan favorite, probably, or mini fan favorite here, Letitia Wright.
Yes.
Shuri.
And something as well that I found out just through looking through information here, she's apparently 16 years old in this film. Not the actress, the character.
Jumping ahead, really jumping ahead. But in that very last scene, my friend and I thought there was a little bit of chemistry between her and the White Wolf, and now I feel really wrong because He's a little bit older than that.
Well, he's a lot older.
He's a lot older than that. Yes. Moving down, one of my favorites. I hope we'll get into him a lot more. Winston Duke as M'Baku.
Yes.
Yeah. And the always Sterling K. Brown as Njobu. Just the incredibly gorgeous and perfect Angela Bassett as Ramonda. Yep. Is it Ramonda or Ramonda?
Ramonda,
yeah.
I believe.
You're
the one that's seen it 3 times.
I know. I just So hey, I'm nailing most of these here. Forrest Whitaker as Zuri. Andy Serkis in one of his best, where you get to see his actual face performances ever.
Yes, I love that dude. He carried the movie whenever he was in the scenes or whatever.
Yeah, Ulysses Claw. Yeah.
And
that's why they had to kill him.
Absolutely.
And I would be remiss if I didn't mention this. I wish I thought it up myself. No, I read it online. Martin Freeman and Andy Serkis are the 2 Tolkien white guys.
Yes. I know, I said that.
And another thing I love is that they were only really used to advance the plot. They weren't fleshed out characters like Black characters have been in for so long in pretty much every other movie ever made. So good for them for not. Yeah, but they were, Claw was still a lot of fun.
Yes.
Baby, don't hurt me. Yeah. Florence Kasumba as Ayo. And then the last one I just wanted to mention was John Caney as the older T'Chaka.
Yes.
Yeah, we get him in our dream sequences there. But yeah, an incredible cast. Like, you put these people together, you're going to have a fucking awesome movie.
Now, what I noticed about this film, the father, the one that you just mentioned just now, his eyeball had a little extra droop on it. Forrest Whitaker's had less droop on it. You think that was the trade out for the movie? It's like, here, take some of this droop and put it on your eye so I can straighten up mine a little bit.
I think there might have been some eye droop swappage. Yes.
I like the idea that Forrest Whitaker actually doesn't have an eye droop, and it's only when he's in front of a camera. He just puts it on.
It's just a choice he makes for every performance.
Yeah.
Like that accent in Arrival. It's like it comes and goes. The eye droop. Yeah. Where do we want to get into this? Just general thoughts. Let's start by being good hosts and offer it up to, I think, our guest.
Yes.
What did you think of Black Panther?
I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was despite it being a Marvel movie, it was nothing like I've ever seen before from a Marvel movie, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. It was just like it was dark. Like, it was people that looked like me.
Yeah.
And I said this on my podcast, and I was just like, I wasn't taken out of the movie because of the movie and how different it was from all the other Marvel movies. I went to a standard showing, so I didn't feel the movie. I didn't like all the car scenes and the explosions and everything. So I didn't get that reverberation, the bouncing off of the walls and all that stuff. So, I mean, that was a minor gripe. It didn't take away from the movie, but it just kind of took away from the first time viewing experience. Right. So I recommend, if you go see this movie for the first time, pay the extra couple bucks to go to a IMAX theater, or if you have theaters that provide, they call it D-Box around here, not Dick Box, but it's to where the seats actually, so it's where the seats actually vibrate with the movie and all kind of shit like that. So I highly recommend that you go see it if you have the extra currency in those capacities. But see the movie nonetheless. Great movie. And also, watching this movie, I felt like it had other influences from other movies, like The Lion King and Coming to America to a certain extent. Yeah. And it was just kind of like a Star Wars-y feel, too, with the technology that was shown on screen. So it was just like when you get into that dream sequence and the relationship between T'Challa and his father, it was kind of like Simba and Mufasa. And then the dream sequence, it just reminded me of the part in The Lion King when the Rafiki told him that he could see his father again, and they had the whole him in the clouds and everything. It kind of reminded me of that. And then the challenge scene in the beginning of the movie when they was doing the king crowning coronation, just when they was doing the dances on the river and everything, remind me of the opening scenes in Coming to America when they had the big dance sequence when they was introducing the new queen. And also the Star Wars effect, to where it was just the technology that they had. It was a very Star Wars like feel and everything to me. So it was like an amalgamation of all three of these movies came together when I was seeing it on screen.
Yeah, and that's some great company to be in, or a great combination there, obviously. And it was to pull from.
And it was just like I wasn't used to seeing anything like this. It was just to have a predominantly black cast. I mean, there's other movies to that extent. I mean, not on a scale of this one as far as budget goes and everything, but there's plenty of all black films and everything. I mean, they don't get as much recognition, but they're out there. But this one, it was just to hear the scenery, the African backdrops, and just the language, the dialect. I'm not used to hearing that throughout a whole movie, so I was just like, I was like, I don't know what to feel, or it was just weird to me, So
but
that was what was great about this movie. It was just like a whole bunch of different feels. It was like nothing I've ever really seen before.
Yeah, a whole lot of new.
Well, but yes, and
it can be a little annoying when you're watching an older film and you'll have the English-speaking person talking in English, and then the person that speaks in a different language will speak in their language with subtitles. And then about halfway through the film, or if they ever go and talk to someone else that speaks their language, they're suddenly speaking English with an accent. And it's just accepted. That's like, no, come on. People can read subtitles now. They're okay with it. Or, don't even subtitle it, maybe there's some things we don't need to hear. But it's just, it was really cool. And I don't know if I'm remembering this correctly, but I do like that every now and again they do just speak in whichever language it is for that region that I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's actually, the language is called Xhosa, I think is how you say it. Xhosa. And it was actually Nelson Mandela's native language.
I just said Wakandan because it was in Wakanda.
Yeah. But hey, if there's any language to be Wakandan, I think they picked well. So
yeah.
But they will just sometimes do that, and they didn't translate. It was just a quick interchange or something. Because
you get one of Okoye's best lines. Does she speak English when she wants to? Did you get into what did you think, Paul? I'm sure you're along the same lines here.
First and foremost, coming out of this, I was just thinking, I didn't specifically feel, oh my god, this is great because all black cast and so on and so forth, blah blah blah. I just came out thinking, wow, that was fantastic. I really enjoyed that. And then when I thought about it, it was like, wow, this could hopefully, this is the start of people realizing, oh, yes, we can use people of different colors than white, and they can be main characters and all of this stuff, and the general public is fine with that, because, shocker, people of different colors are everywhere in this world.
Yes, you know what? They give them that, and then you think you live in a pretty white place or anything like that, but my theater, just to jump in, first experience was probably over half African American, and lots of different people of color in there, and gender and age. Like I was saying, if you make something good, everyone will see it.
Yeah. So, exactly.
So I did feel that this was a phenomenal film in that respect, purely because of that. It is just a fantastic film, in my opinion. And then you've got the additional benefit of the fact that this is this is how we do this type of thing. This finally, a big film is doing it right. And then hopefully, because in Hollywood everyone copies whatever was successful, we're just going to get more of this type of thing until it just becomes the norm.
Now, exactly what you were saying. After seeing this movie in hindsight or whatever, I thought the same exact thing. I was like, this movie is so well put together, great cast. And I was just hoping that it would open the door, just like you said, for other movies to emulate. But also at the same time, being a little selfish, I was hoping that this movie would open the door for another Blade series.
Yes. I think we'll bring that back up in a minute. But Brian, I obviously we don't want to get too repetitive here, but what did you think of it?
No.
You can't even finish that.
Piece of just pure vibranium.
Yes. There is a big piece of vibranium in this.
Shiny, perfect vibranium. It can do anything and be I love this freaking movie. Yeah, I just saw it for the third time yesterday. Want to get, like you said, more watches in. I just was blown away from my first experience. That my experience yesterday wasn't the greatest. It had some noisy, kind of disrespectful tweens or whatever in there, but still was able to have a good time. But just seeing it, and I did see it on a local theaters, like their biggest screen, their ultra screens. You have to pay a few extra bucks for. We don't have like the motion chairs or anything like that, but it was immersive. It's like an IMAX size screen. That was the way to see the movie, and people were just. It was opening weekend. And yeah, just people were just responsive and loving every second of it. There was applause at the end,
Yes.
It was just an experience, and just the way that humor is interspersed, the way the just the social and cultural significance is placed throughout, and just all of that, just making a great action movie that looks amazing. I texted my friend after, and I said, like a lot of times these movies will lose me in the third act. They kind of become copy and paste. It's one of my major criticisms of Wonder Woman. I love that movie, but the third act is kind of a yawn fest, or can be at times.
I enjoyed that movie a lot, Wonder Woman.
I did too, but I'm just being hypercritical there. I still love that, but just like the villain there, kind of at the end, a little just kind of standard. But this third act was the most captivating third act I can recall. Like that last 45-50 minutes, I dare anyone to look away. There's so much going on. The music is incredible. Like we got to get into the music more too, but I just can't say enough positive things about it. I know it not be the best thing to listen to, just as gushing, but hey, it's Black Panther. What do you want to say?
Well, it is interesting because it got obviously nowhere near as many characters as we're going to see in a few months, but it does have a lot of characters, a lot of them only just been introduced as film, and it keeps cutting between all of them, and it never gets boring.
No,
and that's impressive.
Everyone
really
has
impressive.
character development. Everyone has something to do. The female roles are fleshed out. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just equal billing all around. I like it.
Yeah, there's no like, why is this person in here? Or why do you have that character? Everyone felt like they mattered.
Yes.
Yeah, it didn't feel like there was a character other than Stan Lee that had a Stan Lee-esque cameo.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did.
A couple of side things about this movie or whatever. It was after I seen it, because I didn't go see it Friday night. I went to see it the Thursday night before. Mm-hmm. And I went to work the next day, and I do security. So one of the buildings I was at, they have a daycare in the background. In the background, like it's something else, but like in the back of the building. So we had to police that area, and there was kids running around with Black Panther shirts on, and they were pretending to be Black Panther and all kind of stuff as they played. A lot of the care staff there were dressed in like African inspired garb, but also had Wakandan merchandise that they were wearing. So I thought that was pretty cool. Seeing that.
Absolutely.
That's impressive.
Yeah, no kidding.
And then also, more of the security thing. I was at another location to where they have we deal with metal detectors and X-ray machines and shit. So the lady was coming through the X-ray machine, and she had her arms crossed over her chest, kind of like how they do the Wakanda thing.
Yeah.
And just me being a dumbass or whatever, I was just like, I said, you come through there like you seen the Black Panther movie, and it was an older white lady. So in my mind, I was just like, ain't no way in hell she would see this movie, and I doubt if she caught my reference or whatever. After she came through, she said, "Oh yeah, I went to see that movie yesterday. It was really good." And I was like, "Yes, you make me happy."
There's hope. There's still hope. All right. Yeah. So I don't know, where do you wanted to go in from here?
Well, I did want to mention up front, and we talked about it very quickly before we started recording, and you brought it up as well, B-Rob, is the Blade thing. Is that I seen several things online where people started talking about this film, just being like, finally they're making a superhero film that's forwarded by a black man, and it's going to be great. And then it's just like Wesley Snipes is over in the corner just going, excuse me.
So you sons of bitches.
Yeah.
Obviously there's an interesting conversation to be had about the Descent that film series made. But I was wondering, do you think that in any way the fact that Blade existed and did relatively well and maybe even that Wesley Snipes attempted to make a Black Panther film ages ago.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
Might have influenced this film at all, or do you think this was just Marvel going, what's next? Fuck it, Black Panther. Let's get him out.
Well, like I said, we did our review show on my show, which is the Random Rounds with Rob. If you want to go check that out. But what I kind of took from this, and the people that were on with me kind of looked at it the same way. This has been going on since when? You know, the Iron Man movie came out in 2008, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, 2008. Yeah,
so call the post-credit scene of Hulk as wasn't it, or Incredible Hulk?
Yeah,
I think it was when the first time Iron Man appeared. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, we'll just start with Iron Man.
Yeah,
that was 2008. So damn, 10 years. You know, Robert Downey Jr. and all the people that have been in circulation all the way up until this point has been playing these characters and been in all these movies leading up to this point, you know. And I just kind of feel like, you know, introducing all these new characters, this is a way to, you know, cycle out the old ones and bring in some new ones. And even to give the older actors that have been doing this universe for so long, you know, a chance to rest or even, you know, retire from their roles. Because there's no doubt in my mind when Infinity War comes out that damn Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man, he's going away. He probably going to die or he's just going to quit. So introducing the Black Panther character, a character that's in comic book lore, from what I've been told, I don't know for a fact, but majority everybody agrees with me. He's a lot smarter and he has more of the resources and money. So when you retire the Iron Man character or the Robert Downey Jr., you have the the Black Panther character that can come in, that can take up his spot. You know, he has the technology, he has the resources, he has the money. You know, and to jump ahead with the post-credit scene, I kind of feel like, you know, how I was telling you about all these different movies, you know, kind of make up this movie. T'Challa had his Iron Man 1 moment, you know, at the end of the Iron Man 1 when Tony Stark came to the podium and he was like, I'm Iron Man. And now T'Challa, here he is at the podium with the United Nations talking about Wakanda is not going to stand on the sidelines. We're going to be in the forefront. We're going to aid everyone with our technology. Well, he didn't say technology, but we're going to provide aid for everyone. And then they asked the question, what can a simple farming country do for the world? And then he had that smile on his face, and it was just like Iron Man. He's like, I'm Black Panther, motherfucker. You know?
Yeah, he's like, that's what he want to say. He's like, yeah, I'm Black Panther.
Yeah.
So that's what I think is going to be. Is just like these new characters coming in are going to start replacing some of the older ones.
I think so, yeah. And they're as interesting, if not more interesting than the one scene.
Yeah, I definitely agree in all but one respect. And to me, there's no doubt in my mind it's Shuri that's going to be the new Tony Stark, especially since they've come out and announced that she is smarter than Tony Stark.
Mm-hmm.
So she is officially the smartest person in the MCU.
Yeah.
So
and we was trying to predict stuff like that too. It's just like, all right, there's gonna have to be one scene in Infinity War or some kind of just like a little offshoot short or something to where Tony Stark, Shuri, and Bruce Banner are in the same room, and she is just cutting them to ribbons. You know, it's just like his arrogant attitude. You know how Tony Stark is. He'd be like, "Hell yeah, we can do this, this, and this, or whatever," and she just come in and be like, "Nah, we can do it this way, and this is better," and so on and so forth. And he's like, "I knew that."
Exactly. Yeah. I was testing you.
Yeah, there has got to be a scene where Tony Stark either starts talking about something and then Shuri just hands him the thing he's talking, like, here you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I already made that. Yeah, I already 4 steps ahead of you here, buddy. Yeah.
I like that.
Knowing her just in this film, I could see her hacking his Friday AI and making it sound like her. So Tony Stark will constantly have her talking to him throughout the film, just to annoy him slightly.
I did want to run something by you, just kind of some random bits here. If you're first time with her, we're not so much a recapper as just a general reviewer here. So if you're looking for scene by scene, that's not us. But
not anymore.
No, that's just that tends to lead us to 3-hour podcasting, which just isn't feasible. But did you notice? Well, I guess B-Rob, I'll ask before I go into too far. Are you a Black Mirror fan?
I have seen majority of the first season. I haven't delved into the rest of them yet.
Okay.
And that's where I was introduced to the guy from Get Out in that series.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, he's a 15 million merits.
Yep.
Yeah. So sorry, this will be lost on you, but the opening we get to Killmonger and this was pointed out to me, actually, these are not my thoughts, but did you get the Black Museum parallels, Paul? We have Killmonger being shown around by a white person. This is what happens in Black Museum, by the way. It's like these, artifacts from the Black Mirror world. And then, he's asking questions about all these artifacts. And then he says, you got all the security around, but you don't think twice about what you're putting in your body.
Yeah.
Sorry, Black Mirror spoilers for anyone, but yeah, she, Letitia Wright, actually, Shuri, is in that episode, and she's the one that poisons, the curator of that museum, Rollo. Rollo Haynes.
Can we actually pause for 1 second and just say
so
Letitia Wright? How many accents can that person do?
An infinity war of accents.
An infinity war.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
But yeah, so that once I saw that, I'm like, oh my god, you're so right. Like, because she just gets poisoned there, and then he's like, I love that scene. I'm like, that is so Black Museum. But who thought of it? I mean, this was probably in production first, so maybe.
Probably,
So,
it's definitely one of those things where there's only so many things that could have happened in that scene to make it work, and I guess it either goes to show that the people that were writing both were on the same wavelength, or that this is probably the best way to do this if you ever decided to, because there seems to be a consensus now that poisoning someone who is a little up themselves is the best way to do it.
Yeah, I do like the button on that scene, or I think it's she's explaining all the artifacts, and then obviously what happens, and I think it was Claw says, "Oh, is that a mask from Wakanda too?" No, I'm just I'm just feeling this. Yeah. Also, Claw's dispatch of the last security guard was pretty great.
I thought Michael B. Jordan's character was just like, he was in the realm of the film, but he was like also outside of the realm of the film, because like everybody's speaking with the accents and everything, and he's just like the only one like, you know what I'm saying?
I'm not feeling that. Shooting kind of straight.
Well, and obviously that really helped to sell the fact that he is the outsider. But he is from there. Like and a very effective way of subtly doing that on top of the fact that he is an American coming to Wakanda.
Yeah, I felt bad reading the little bit of trivia. Apparently, he kind of isolated himself from cast to kind of help mimic the character itself.
Well, that's kind of good.
Yeah,
I know that.
But I feel bad he didn't get to have like probably the awesome experience that everyone else did on set.
True.
Assuming here.
Well, and on top of that, I don't know if you saw that his prosthetics took 2.5 hours to put on, and he then had to sit in a sauna for 2 hours afterwards for them to come off.
Yeah, on top of like a 12-hour shooting day, 14-hour shooting day, whatever.
So
I mean, he's something of a method actor from what you was just saying or whatever. He's like, man, well, fuck it, I just go get the things for real. That way, I ain't got to worry about it.
Just get all the scars.
Production was delayed for 2 weeks while he healed from the almost sanguinating himself.
So can't I just get like an arm cannon like Claw? Just hook me up with one of those.
Or like maybe a lycra bodysuit that he could just slip on that just looked like him. Like that would look like a 1990s failed Fantastic Four production, I'm sure. But
there hasn't been enough of those.
But
90s or any decade.
Now, with that character or whatever, I was talking about how this film had a Star Wars feel to me. I kind of felt the same way about him. I kind of felt like he was that Darth Vader character, because when he was properly introduced, anytime he was coming into a scene, the whole vibe of that scene would change and the music would play up when he was on screen or whatever. So it was kind of like anytime you see Darth Vader in a Star Wars movie, you hear that dun 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 dun, dun. It was the same thing for Killmonger in this movie too.
Oh yeah, it's like you're telling a joke with a coworker or something, and then your scary boss comes in and you just stop talking immediately. You're just like, nope, we're good. Okay, yep, we're working, we're busy.
All props to Michael B. Jordan. He really was able to have presence in this film. Every single time he was there, you do struggle to look at any of the other characters in the background or see anything that's going on, but you are so focused on him, especially since he has a little bit of the loose cannon randomness to it as well. Because even though you know what he's even though you know what he's trying to do, you don't know how he's going to do it. So it's really, really cool to watch.
Yeah, he was fantastic. Like that's, I think, you know, I don't think I'm saying anything surprising here with the MCU's had a villain problem other than Loki.
And some might even say Loki as well.
And even Loki's one. Yeah, I'm just trying to be a little generous there, but I thought he's one of the most captivating and like menacing villains that we've had. Especially when the heart-shaped herb scene. You know, he's like, "No, we're burning all this shit."
He's not burn that shit.
Yeah, like next king. Who do you? Yeah, there is no next king. Yeah,
which was funny. He's like, when I say that shit, you do that shit.
It's not a request. I'm not asking.
And I will say one thing that I don't fully understand about that plan, that idea, is fair enough. He doesn't want to even consider that someone might be after him, but he does want to take over, kind of like rule, get the world to acknowledge that they are the superior power. What happens in 60 years or 70 years when he dies? Is it just going to be like, well, disband everything? No
we had a good run.
Whatsoever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, with him, he seemed like he lived for this moment or whatever. And I highly doubt that. All right, well, I'm here now, so I guess, I can stop. But I think you would probably been like, all right, I just grab one of these Wakandan women, knock them up, and have some seeds, and then they'll have evil minions like me, and they'll take over for decades and eons after I'm gone.
Yeah, the only thing that I can think of is that he's fine with having heirs, but he doesn't want any heirs with the same power that he has.
Yeah, but that's my question here as far as the logistics of the heart-shaped herb here, because that's how you get your quote-unquote superpowers, right? Or you get the Black Panther power. So how long does it stay in your system? Doesn't he need some more at some point?
I believe
burned all that.
No, I believe it is a one and done.
It's one and done because there's a potion to
strip it away,
and then Zuri has one that like deactivates you, like restricts it from.
Yeah, I feel like it's sort of a way of, because they have that astral plane visit once you've taken it. I feel like what it does is you take that herb and then it will activate receptors in your body, so you're kind of connected to that plane and the power comes there through you.
I'm sure, so if you can't tell, at least I did not read the comics, so I'm sure there's an answer there.
Yeah.
People are listening, screaming at their
phones.
Well,
we're sorry.
Well, to that effect of what you were just saying is like, I haven't read any of the comic books either. I mean, I've been introduced to Black Panther. I mean, I knew he existed, but I'm really introduced to him through Civil War and this movie. But my guest that I had on my show, Random Rambles with Rob podcast, if you want to check it out.
He's a pro, folks.
The guys that I had on there, they were it was like 3 levels of it. It was like me, who didn't know shit. The next guy that was on the show, he was mid part of the way. He was a few years into it. And then there was the other guy who was the pro. He knew everything about the Black Panther. And from the way it usually works is you would do the challenge, and you would go to the astral plane or whatever, and you would meet the Panther God boss, and he would decide if you were worthy enough to be the Black Panther. And he would, if you were worthy, he would, bam, you be the Black Panther from here on. So that's from what I was told. That's how it usually worked. Because you can be the king and not be the Black Panther.
Right.
You know,
kind of a Thor's hammer type thing, where you had to be worthy of being the Black Panther, no matter who you are. You had to.
Yeah, there's no getting around that system.
Yeah, because I know that in the comics, Shuri gains, I guess, the favor and powers of another being from that dimension. And I'm not going to say why, in case some people are reading the comics. I'm not reading the comics, so I didn't mind reading the spoilers, but I'm telling for that. But she ends up gaining that. And it does seem very much like, for those of you that have played Skyrim or any of those, it's very much the Daedric gods are just being like, we like you. Okay, yeah, you can. Here you go. Have this.
But that was the thing that I didn't understand. So we know now through this movie that, you take the heart-shaped herb, you gain the powers of the Black Panther. We know that.
Yeah.
So in the Civil War, his daddy died. His daddy was the king. So it's been apparent that he hadn't been the Black Panther for a long time. I mean, just given his physical makeup and everything. So has T'Challa been the Black Panther this whole time, and he already had taken the heart-shaped herb?
So you can, so that's my question is, you can be the Black Panther and the King aren't mutually exclusive.
Yeah,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you
that's
can
right.
be one without being the other.
Yeah, he was definitely the Black Panther as Prince. So what I'm assuming happened is that his dad was the Black Panther, and then at some point when he was getting older, and
he
when
passed it along.
T'Challa was old enough,
Yeah.
he said, "You can be the Black Panther now. It's not my job, and my job is to be king, to be diplomatic."
Because I highly doubt that him and his daddy fought for it. Because I mean, it's usually a challenge to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's just like, here you go, just hold on to that for me real quick.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I think what probably happened was maybe they went through the whole thing so that the dad would be stripped of his power, and then they were just like, fight! And then he just like, I give up. That's the end of the fight.
It's a Thumor, folks. It's a Thumor.
I don't know. I mean, it could have happened or whatever. I mean, it could have just been, passed down just however, because...
I want to know more. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, you good. Because I mean, I'm getting this from the movie because like I said, I haven't read the comics. It's just like all the tribes are there for the challenge, and any one of them at any given time during the challenge can step in like, I want a challenge for this shit. So I'm pretty sure it was just like, all right, we here. We're gonna have the challenge. Does anybody oppose? No. All right, here you go. You can be the Black Panther now.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a lot of questions about the kind of how succession works. Like, so you can just hand it down to your son without a challenge, or like on challenge day, is there only one challenge allowed? Like, because you can just watch some dude like beat the shit out of Black Panther, and you're like, I think now's my chance. He's almost
Just like if you,
I think I have a shot.
It's like if you have any wrestling fans listening or whatever, it's like the Money in the Bank briefcase. It's just like you win this briefcase that you can cash in on the champion at any time, anywhere. So like that's historically how it usually happens. The champion has a hard fought match. He's beat down. He's tired. Then somebody will come in with the briefcase to cash in while he fucked up, and they win.
Yeah, exactly. I do have the question there is that it very much seemed like the ceremony was kind of the same as a wedding ceremony when you had the, does anyone have any reason why this person, like, speak now or forever hold your peace? And then they have that one bout, he wins, so that's fine. And then, what is it, 2-3 weeks later, short
period of time later.
Killmonger turns up, and then they're like, I challenge you. And they're like, okay.
Yeah.
What?
Well, see,
Can anyone change their minds once the ceremony is over? Like, one of the other tribes goes, actually, hang on. Let's get back down there.
Well, I think in this instance of the movie, I think it was just kind of like a thing of, nobody for him was there being represented. So he didn't have the opportunity, or that clan or tribe didn't have an opportunity to challenge at the time.
Yeah, and it was about his blood. Yeah,
technically he's from
bloodline.
Their tribe, so their tribe would have been there, and their tribe didn't. Like, so
I don't know. I'm just saying.
I think what happened.
You have to have all the answers. Come on, B-Rob.
Yeah, I know. I think what must have happened is like they put out an email to everyone from Wakanda, and they say, all right, your travel plan for the next 3 days are out. Everyone must be at Stone Circle because you're not allowed to miss this. And because he did, they were like, all right.
I mean, they infiltrated a undercover ops plan just to get old girl out. So be there for the coronation.
Did you freeze like an antelope in headlights?
Yeah.
I did love. Yeah, that was a big laugh. Like the first big laugh, and first time it's like hi to Nakia.
That was another thing too. How they did the comedy. The comedy in this movie was different from the other Marvel movies. Everything in the other Marvel movies so far was just like bam, bam, ha ha, big laughs. Especially Thor Ragnarok. This one and the way they did the comedy in this one, it was like more out of nowhere. Like when it happened, you wasn't really expecting it. It just
felt natural. It felt like part of how they were just speaking, and that it was a natural way to make a joke at that moment.
Yeah, and I feel like Wakanda in general, probably because of its
the seriousness,
power, and the fact that they are so secure. They're very laid back. Like when they go to the leader of the last tribe, and he's just like, I will feed you to my children. I'm just getting revenge there.
M'Baku is the greatest. Yeah. When he just starts barking to shut up Martin Freeman. Like, no, white boy, you don't get to talk here. No. It's not happening. And then I don't know if anyone else, but best laugh for me by far, Shuri calling out T'Challa's nasty ass sandals. What are those?
Yeah.
We got a what are those in Black Panther, and I'm so happy.
They also had the it was like a world star moment or whatever when she was telling him to kick the suit. And he's he's like, are you recording this? And then he get flung across the room or whatever, and he's like, delete that footage.
Yeah. It was so well. God damn it, this movie is so well done. Yeah.
And I think that goes to show as well how well they establish the relationship between all the characters. Because there were some characters that were always joking with each other. For instance, brother and sister. Yeah. And then there are some characters that could joke a little bit, but were mostly serious, like T'Challa and
Nakia.
That's right.
His ex. Yeah.
And and then there were some that there was pretty much no jokes whatsoever between them, and it all worked perfectly, in my opinion. It was just so well put together. And speaking of Nakia as well, Lupita, I don't know if you looked into how much she did for the role.
Yeah.
She trained not only in how to speak Hausa, which I think is how you say it, like the native language of a certain area. Like, she learned how to speak that just for a couple of scenes in the film. But also she trained in judo, jiu-jitsu, silat, and Filipino martial arts for the role. Like, that's more than I'm fairly certain Keanu Reeves did for The Matrix. But
I feel like everyone knew how important it was, and we aren't leaving anything to chance. We're going to work our asses off, from Kendrick busting his ass on the score or in the music. Like everyone came to play.
Why don't we talk about the music? You said you definitely wanted to.
I've been listening to the soundtrack for 3 weeks now. It is a fucking great soundtrack. I don't know. Have you been listening to it at all, B-Rob?
I've downloaded, but I never listened to anything outside of the movie.
Oh, it's so good. I mean, I know it's fresh, but it's got to be one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. The music is so good. Kendrick and I think when they get into the Korean casino scene where we get the Stanley cameo and stuff, there's a great song with him and The Weeknd. That's a great one. And nothing specific to say, but just the music. As the rest of the film, incredible. Like it didn't slack at all. I loved every bit of it.
Stop the podcast. Wait, hang on. It is giveaway time. Woo, yes.
Exciting stuff.
I know, yes.
Interesting stuff. Maybe.
Possibly.
We'll let you be the judge.
Yes, we don't want to just tack it on at the end so you skip ahead. No. This is randomly appearing somewhere in the recording. Even I don't know.
And the other part I liked about Black Panther was, and now you can't even tell if we're back into the episode.
Exactly.
Oh, no. Okay.
But yes, this is for another DVD from Wild Eye Releasing. Thank you again to them for this opportunity, and possibly,
almost definitely,
a random entry from Brian's own catalog as well.
Yes, that I no longer want or need. Maybe it's a movie I still like, and just I have it digitally now, so who knows? It won't necessarily be awful.
Probably not.
Probably not. I generally have decent taste.
That's just the chance you take with this giveaway.
Exactly. That's why it's a giveaway.
Yes.
And then you can have your own giveaway if you don't like it.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be someone's Christmas present down the line.
That's right. Yeah, that coworker you don't like.
So yes, this time we want you to tell us your favorite line from Black Panther, and obviously, no real criteria here from us. We just want to know what your personal favorite line from the film was, and the first person to do this will be receiving it. Now, we also would just like to know that anyway. So even if you see someone else has done it, just let us know, because we really like hearing from you guys and knowing what you think. So, yes, even if you're hearing this 2 weeks from now, don't think, someone's already got this. Just throw it out there. You could be lucky, and other people were thinking, someone else has this as well. So you're the first. Well done, you.
Right on you.
So, yes, to get a hold of us On Twitter, probably the best place for it, at Blokebusters, or Facebook if you want, .com/Blokebusters, or on Instagram, at Blokebusters, or on Vero if you're on there, and it's currently working. I know it's been having a few issues here and there due to current server issues, but we'll see. Just Blokebusters, we're on there, so just get a hold of us, any of those places. Let us know your favourite line, and if you are first, you will win something. If you are not first, you will get to talk to us. So you win in the end anyway. There you go. And now on with the podcast.
Wakanda forever.
All right.
To get back to the comedy or whatever,
Yeah.
there's one scene that I laugh about, just randomly to myself. And my wife was watching it last night, and she always dies every time she sees it. And is when they had the car chase, and then the car gets blown up or whatever, and she land on the hood of the car with a spear and everything, and then old girl just sliding up in the car seat, still holding the steering wheel.
That's the 3 times I that got a big laugh every time. Yeah. It's
because it was like so subtle. It's just like she had this, like how Deadpool coined it, is this badass superhero landing, boom, on her feet with a spear in her hand, and you just see somebody just
still holding.
And it was
Still
at 10 and
2.
Yeah, it was so freaking subtle too. It was just like no emotion on the face, no frowns, and then it was just like, this really happened just now.
Yeah, and even something like that can be, if not done right, can be too jokey or corny or like, okay, you're trying too hard.
Well, that's
but
the
it
thing.
wasn't that at all.
No, that's the thing. In almost any other film, I think, if that had happened, your immediate response was to be, no, come on. Like, the car exploded. How did this happen? But in this film, it was just like, well, of course of course this happens.
Well,
And
it's just
so
excellent world building and character development, and you're just along for whatever happens. There's nothing will you out of it. And something so silly like that.
Yeah, I even got the feeling, just in watching it, that she could have gotten it if she wanted to. But it was just like a sort of a deflated...
Yeah. There was another... Go ahead, Vero.
Yeah, no, you good. You go ahead.
So I was just going to say, I'm stretching for another Black Mirror comparison, but when Black Panther is considering dispatching Claw after he catches him in that sequence, we have, is it Okoye or Ayo? I don't know who comes up, one of them, and it says, the world is watching. Did you get any White Bear flashbacks with everyone holding up their phone filming?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, I know it's a bit of a stretch. The Black Museum's a much better tie.
And it is also just, I don't want to say a comment or a commentary, but it kind of is. Of course, if this were to happen in today's world, everyone would be standing around recording like everything. And I don't know if you've seen in multiple viewings of it. Are they looking at what's happening, or are they looking at their phone as they're recording it? Because
I feel like they're looking at the phone.
Yeah, because I mean, not to try and get into a social commentary in this thing about something entirely disconnected from the film, but like that is.
You have a man in a vibranium panther suit in front of you, but you're looking at a 2.5 inch screen.
Yeah, you're like, well, I better get this in frame. It's like, watch what's happening.
It's okay for your kid's shitty dance recital, fine, but this is the Black Panther. He's right there. Look at it. Yeah.
And I think the way, the world has shifted, as far as technology goes, that these movies are kind of done, to that effect. Because, I mean, how stupid would it be for these characters to be running around with a alternate identity? I mean, pretty much everybody in the Marvel Universe has already been revealed. Tony Stark's just flat out like, hey, I'm motherfucking Iron Man.
That's what I was just going to, point that out. Yeah, that he kind of had to. Like, there's no hiding in this society.
Yeah.
Everybody know who's Thor. Everybody know who the Hulk is. Not so much, but they know who he is. I mean, everybody know who these people are.
Yes, yeah. We all know who is what. I mean, like you said, there are a couple that are very still in shadows, but yeah, and especially I don't understand because it feels like Black Panther. People still don't know who he is, but he's been around as Black Panther without his hood on before. Like obviously, you saw in Civil War, several people know who he is.
Yeah,
and now that we know what people think of Wakanda, how did nobody say anything about how are you, like how did you get this technology? Nobody questions it whatsoever. And then in this film, once again, you've got Martin Freeman's character who is just like, wait, when did you have this technology? Like, well, you're not watching him in Civil War. You had him, like, you were talking with him then, but oh well, whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of like how what Claw was saying.
Yeah, pretty much.
And yeah, now I have that stuck in my head. Baby, don't hurt me no more.
And you know what? We talked about this as well. It was just like, that would have been a great marketing ploy to actually have that SoundCloud tape that he was talking about on SoundCloud.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that would have been good.
That could have been like one of them pre-marketing campaign things. It's just like it automatically popped up on SoundCloud. So people already know what he's talking about by the time the movie comes out. So be like, oh, I downloaded that.
Yeah, it is. Well, maybe they didn't do that because of everything that SoundCloud approved.
Yeah.
Like recently, they're like, well, maybe they were even considering, are we going to have to change this to another streaming service of some description? Because it was very up in the air to whether or not SoundCloud would still exist by the time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like, did you get that on Vine? Oh shit.
Yeah, but yeah, I really did enjoy all the little things in this film. And all the big things just seem to hit very well, if not perfectly, throughout. And it really is going to show that Marvel, despite whether or not you enjoy comic book films or stuff like that Marvel knows what they're doing at point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like Vero was saying, it's like a formula as far as the budget and everything else. I think, yeah.
And they seem to be learning from every film they do. And if not taking comments from the public, at the very least, the people that are writing are being able to look at previous films. Okay, well, we feel this worked, and this pacing worked better than this pacing, and they know the type of film that they're making, and they're able to just make these very well-crafted films. I am a little worried because no matter what you like to think, like, nobody bats 1,000.
Yeah. When are we getting Cars 2? Where is our Cars 2?
Yeah, and I mean,
as much as I have my issues with Guardians 2, well established, but
it's like, I mean, obviously, loads of people were not too fond of Iron Man 3.
Mm-hmm.
Iron Man 2 was the bigger single.
I mean, Iron Man 2 as well, but Iron Man 3, I think, for me, was the biggest letdown in terms of the villain. Because I think if they hadn't turned the Mandarin into what he was, I think if they kept the Mandarin as he was in the trailer, that could have been a phenomenal film, and then they went the way they did. But yeah, and so they've had missteps, but that was very early on. And Thor 2 as well, to a lesser extent, was, I think, slightly more boring than anything else. But that was just for me. So I know a lot of people that liked. So recently, everything's been very good, regardless of personal feelings towards the way they take some of the story. I'm really, really, really hoping that because of everyone that's involved in it, because of the love by the cast and crew and all of this stuff, that it's going to be consistently at least good.
Yeah.
And I don't want this to happen, but I'm so worried that something's going to... There's going to be a big misstep at some point. I hope not. I really do.
My normal pessimistic self says but I don't think so. I think they know what they're doing.
Like I said, I hope so.
Albeit some lukewarm sequels.
So what do you think? I mean, do you think it's going to be like a misstep in the terms of the X-Men movies, or a misstep in the term of the Fantastic Four movies?
Oh, that's always a safe bet on but Fantastic Four. But they're still technically Fox, are they not?
I believe they now officially are back to not Disney, I suppose. If
they have everything except for the Sony licenses, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're obviously sharing Spider-Man. So they have access to Spider-Man, obviously.
Yeah.
And they have, I think they have everything from the Fox cinema and most of TV.
Yeah.
So, which now I kind of want to completely around the tangent, but I now kind of really want an Extraordinary Gentleman reboot.
Yes, please. I love that movie.
Let it die. You too. Oh God, you too.
And I so was hoping for a part 2.
Gentleman.
Yeah, so I was hoping for a sequel.
So hoping for a part 2. When the grave started shaking and everything, I was like, yeah, they're gonna make another one.
Yeah, and I think that film was a little too ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Only because I think that, and it's not necessarily gritty, and it's not quite along those lines. But I think that the world wasn't quite ready for what was effectively Guardians of the Galaxy. It was things that nobody knew anything about except the people that made it, and the world was like, oh, characters we don't really know about. No, I don't really want to go and see that. And whereas now you would have a whole bunch of people, a talking tree and a raccoon that holds a gun. Yeah. I'm in. Now would be the perfect time for a redo, and maybe you would like it, Brian. This time,
we'll see. Maybe not. I was talking with Paul earlier. I do want to get a couple of closing thoughts on Black Panther here, but I was talking before we started recording. We were talking about Blade, and I did read a couple things where he could be introduced into the MCU, which I am here for.
Oh Lord, please, Jesus, let it happen.
Wouldn't that be awesome if we get like a Black Widow standalone movie, and then like maybe a Blade standalone movie, and then join? Yeah.
Well, man, that'd be so awesome.
MCU.
Yeah. Now I will say,
go ahead.
I'm all behind a Black Widow standalone movie.
Yeah, it's been we need it.
More behind a Budapest film. I want to know what the hell happened
in
Budapest.
Yeah, and see that's what these films are doing. They're not always superhero movies. They're movies that star superheroes. Like we got Captain America. Why am I blanking on it? Winter Soldier, which is a spy thriller. It's and you can do another spy thriller. It's a spy thriller with comic book characters, or you have action or noir. You have these kind of genre films that star superheroes, and I think that would be a great move, Black Widow, to do kind of like a spy noir style.
Yeah, the only thing that's going to happen now, I think, is have you seen trailers for Red Sparrow?
Yeah,
I think now. That film is going to come under the microscope and be like, oh, this is very Black Widow-esque, and then it's going to be, you're either going to compare it to that, and so Red Sparrow's not going to do as good, or Red Sparrow's going to be great, and then Black Widow's got to live up to that if they come out of that. And I mean, they're two very different films.
And it's all about, it's about the directors too, because that's another thing that they do very well, for the most part, is that they get the right director for the job. They don't just hire your typical Michael Bay or Fast and Furious style director, just action gung-ho. They get someone that can add and has perspective, add to the piece and has perspective for it. Ryan Coogler, he's got a few credits, but he nailed it. And they're very trusting with their director. So I think if you get a good director attached to those movies, I think those comparisons will fall, basically.
I'm sure that if they may, especially given roughly what I know about the content of Red Sparrow, there's no way the Black Widow would come close to it. I think that as long as you've got a good set of writers, which Marvel definitely has, and the right thinking going into it, it'll be great. But I do feel like I would love to see Black Widow and Hawkeye from their past, over Black Widow by herself right now. Then again, I'm not someone that is just longing for more Scarlett Johansson. So, there's that. Nothing against Scarlett Johansson.
Well, you might. I don't know. Lots of people don't have a problem getting more Scarlett Johansson, but
Now, before I know you're talking about wrapping up, but before we do, I got two things. I mean, more Blade talk, but as far as Black Panther go, what was some of your dislikes, if any?
I don't know. I might need a minute if you got something.
All right, let me think.
I'll go while you get yourself together.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just like it's nothing really bad. It's just kind of nitpicky to me because I love action movies and shit like that. It's just to me the actor T'Challa, Bosman or whatever the fuck. His style of fighting. It just seemed kind of to me, it's just like, it almost felt like, not as bad, but like how people complain about the Iron Fist, how the dude who played the Iron Fist, his movement wasn't really crisp or solid, like he didn't really have enough time practicing in the role, which he didn't in the first series of Iron Fist. But it felt kind of off to me, and it just felt like at any given time, if he didn't have the Black Panther suit on or had the freaking heart-shaped herb mojo juice, that anybody could whip this dude's ass. You know?
Yeah, kind of. And one thing I was thinking initially is he obviously gets that new suit which has the kinetic energy that can build up and release, and that becomes his kind of go-to thing. And I was thinking, oh, well, you know, that's interesting. But then I was also thinking he is someone that can kind of adapt to what's around, and so he is able to very quickly take what he's been given and use it to his advantage. And then oddly, it seemed to malfunction twice in the film. The one time I didn't fully understand exactly why it went off when he got shot by that weapon. And then the second time it just kind of goes off. They just, I think, can they only store so much?
I think there's capacity, or like any new tech, there are bugs to work out, perhaps, you know, so even with the technologically advanced society.
But I mean, even to counter my point that I had to where I didn't like that aspect so much, you know, just like you said, even though he may have lacked in, you know, skill so much, I think they just portrayed him that way for this movie, but he had the superior intellect, you know, because anytime he got beat down, he always found a way to smart his way back in at the end, you know, so he got his ass whipped by Killmonger in the beginning, but when they fought again, you know, he outsmarted them rather than try to use brute strength.
Yeah, and I did also enjoy the fact that the challenge never officially ended.
Yeah,
like they did word that in. It was like, nope, the challenge is still active.
He's like,
this
nah,
screen
that
has been on
is
pause.
over.
I may have had to go to work, but no, I am picking up this game right where I left off. Yeah,
he's like, nah. He said that challenge shit is over, son.
That challenge shit is over. Nope, the time has elapsed. Yeah, you did not hear the bell. Yeah, it is done. Yeah. So did you have anything, Paul?
Well, the one thing that I kind of noticed when I was watching is that the CG in most places was great. Very well done. Very small amounts of it, especially when they were fighting in the train tunnel at the end and you could see the suits coming and going in patches. So that was very well done. And then you've got the attack rhinos that were so obviously not there. Like it was that
animals
was some
tough.
of the worst CG. So, and
Mm-hmm.
I agree, animals are very tough for it, and obviously they want this film to make as much of a profit as possible. But I feel like they could have invested another, let's say, 50 million into the tech and gave it another like 3 weeks to render, so they could really get some good textures down and get it. So it
also didn't seem like it was a huge payoff. I mean, we got the lick on the face, whatever, you know, that moment, but I wasn't really invested in those beings.
To be honest, I completely forgotten about them. By the
Yeah,
time
because you
they
only see
turn
them
up
one.
again.
Yeah, you have that scene where you needed to establish them so that you do remember them. They pop up in that battle, but
I think it could have used a little more practical movie magic, you know. I mean, I wouldn't have been too opposed if the rhinos were maybe partially CG and they may have had some kind of animatronics for the close-up stuff to give it a little more realism, or even the suits. I know the suits thing in the little train fight was kind of difficult because of, you know, one, it was an imaginary train and you can't have real actors doing shit with real trains running around and shit. So I kind of see why the CG effect of that. But I mean, I believe the suit parts could have been a little more practical, less CG suit, a little more CG shoot with a little bit of CG elements.
Yeah, and obviously the problem does come down to the fact that we can't actually have a suit that fits into a necklace. So there's got to be there's got to be certain parts.
Is that what ruined it for you? Okay.
But I feel like now that CG has reached the point that it has, there's so much of, well, we can do it with CG, and it will obviously help cut corners so they can make the film quicker or they can make it easier. But as you say, definitely, especially, let's say, Jurassic Park as kind of a benchmark, really, for the T-Rex scene. For most, I think 80% of the T-Rex, when it's attacking them in the Jeep, that T-Rex is real. There was genuinely a gigantic T-Rex.
Wait, you're saying there's T-Rex?
Yes.
They made a dinosaur?
They did. That's where most of the budget
Oh my god.
Okay.
I didn't realize it was real.
T-Rex Like that existed, and one of my favorite stories actually from that, there was a guy that used to have to climb into the T-Rex, in through all the gears to be able to use it and also to fix it. And if the power went off at any time, it would crush them to death.
God damn.
Because of how that worked. The power had to be running constantly if anyone was inside it.
Mm.
And
now,
yeah.
Well,
you can't do that now.
That movie was made in '93, you know, so that was kind of like, that movie was like a melding of CG and practical effects. Now, we flash forward to 1998 when Blade came out. And I believe Blade 1 and Blade 2, they were just really at the beginning of testing new technology, because Blade came out right before The Matrix did. And Blade in that film introduced a lot of different technology and, camera stuff. And then The Matrix came in right after that, and they kind of refined it with the bullet time, which is a marvel in itself. And then Blade 2 came out after that, and they started mixing the CG with the actual live action characters and everything. Because if you remember the scene in Blade 2 when Novak and Wesley Snipes were fighting, it's like,
yeah.
All right, he run up the wall, and then when he come down in the elbow drop, that was the actual actor then. So they melded the CG to a certain point with the actual actor. So it was kind of like CG and live action at the same time. So
yeah, although that particular film, you can very, 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 very clearly tell when it's CG and when it's live action, because the CG people, when they're especially when they're fighting in front of the lights, they're very bendy, and they feel like they're made of rubber.
Yeah, and it was like that in the second Matrix as well, when they had the ultimate Mr. Smith fight and shit. When Keanu Reeves was swinging the pole around and everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, these was the birth of that that CG, that practical, trying to mix it with real and trying to give it a superhero feel to it or whatever. And these movies pioneered that shit and made it possible for all the movies to follow.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But anyway, I said all that to say this: they need to make another Blade movie.
That's the whole point here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, do you feel that they should go with Wesley Snipes, or Wesley Snipes having a behind-the-scenes role and they dubbing somebody else Blade?
Yeah, I think someone else is Blade and Snipes as a cameo.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Snipes is now the Whistler character.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same way. Now, to follow that up, who is your nomination for Blade? Because I already have one. I was prepared for this.
I would just want to pull from the Black Panther cast.
What, you say Michael B. Jordan?
No, actually, no. I would go with
his twin brother.
No, I would go Winston Duke, M'Baku, the leader of the Jabari tribe.
I know, he's big. He's a big motherfucker.
I know he's a big guy, yeah.
He could definitely do it.
Fun fact, they considered LL Cool J to be Blade before Wesley Snipes.
LL Cool J.
Interesting. Yeah. I can see that, but I wouldn't want shit. So.
Yeah. No.
If I could just,
I don't have anyone right now. So what's your pick?
All right, I've been screaming this from the top of my lungs for as long as I've been pandering and begging for it. I've been hashtagging and tweeting Marvel to do it, but my candidate for the new Blade, if they had to recast the person, would be Maurice Crump. And he's a choreographer. He is the one that helped Chadwick Boseman with his martial arts training, so you can look those videos up as well. And just seeing him work, he was in the Protector 2 with Tony Jaa, and just his style, his the way he moves and everything, he reminds me of Blade. I believe he's the closest thing, if not a little bit better than Wesley Snipes, to being in that role, just because of his martial arts stylings and just his overall look.
Okay.
So Maurice Crump.
I can see that. The person I would put forward, just thinking about it, if he wasn't already firmly entrenched in the MCU, I would actually put Mike Coulter forward, a possibility, as in Luke Cage himself. But, obviously, since he is Luke Cage, he couldn't be Blade at the same time.
Now, see, this is how we tie it all together. There is a comic book issue to where all the black superheroes are in it, and they're trying to solve a murder mystery in New Orleans. So they have Blade, they have Luke Cage, they have Black Panther. So if you can cast all three of them people, bam, there you go. We can make that movie too.
And then, Blade could become Luke Cage's mentor, and he could take up the mantle. So it could kind of work, I suppose.
Yes.
If you get that in. I would see that. I would definitely watch that. What about you then, Brian? Do you have
a nit to pick?
Or... Well, a nit to pick.
I don't think I ever got to that.
Suggestion for new Blade.
Oh, I think I have. I can't think of anyone else really right now.
Unless you want to go fully out there and cast a white person as Blade, fully white.
I'm not going to be that guy. This is the Black Panther podcast, Paul. I'm not.
All right,
I'm not going to ruin all that goodwill here.
Yeah. Let's just throw it out there.
Let's give Chris Hemsworth another role. Yeah, okay, no.
No, I'm just saying. Next year when Halloween come around, if you want to dress as Black Panther, just dress as Black Panther. Don't put goddamn blackface on. Just wear the clothes. That's all you got to do.
Yeah,
just wear the mask.
Yes.
Really. That's
and and wear your hair normally as you have your hair.
Or if you are so worried about skin color, go as Claw.
Yes.
Go as Claw.
Yes.
Or everyone's favorite CIA agent ever drops.
I think I might.
No
go
one
as
will
Claw
understand.
I'm
just a guy in a but if I said that to bring it back too, because I don't think I got to do my little critique.
You did not.
And this is really grasping at straws here because I think it's so close to a perfect movie. But Martin Freeman's accent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
From the moment, like when my first watch in the theater, when his first line, there were a couple of giggles around me.
Yeah.
Like it seemed a little inconsistent, and I'm just stretching here. Like I prefer his natural voice.
Very much so.
But I mean that shows you how much I think that where I'm just bitching about his American accent.
Well, and then it's like it's the same with the Doctor Strange. So come on, just let them have their own accents because we know they're English. We know they're forcing an accent. Mm-hmm. It just seems weird. You can't quite get around it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, obviously he is an American person in the canon. Like he's got to play it, and they decided that Martin Freeman was the best person to play him.
Yeah, but we did and we got Bilbo and Gollum in a scene together, so that was cool. Yeah,
that was great.
I do that. Yeah, I can see you. That was because that was a big trailer, that scene, and it was a really kind of quick, just like 2-minute scene there.
Yeah, and well done as well. They didn't linger on it more than they needed. It was about the right length.
I was just hoping you called him my precious.
Yeah, riddles in the dark. Yeah. Okay, well, should we get to some closing thoughts or anything we didn't get? I know, sorry people, there's so much to talk about in this movie, so if we missed your favorite bits, apologies. But,
to be honest, I think I've covered pretty much everything I would want to about this film, having only seen it the once.
We need to mention the post credit sequence.
Aha.
Yes. We would be remiss to not mention that, because we do have Shuri, when Martin Freeman's been shot, brings him in and she said something. We have another broken white boy to fix.
Yeah, another broken.
So that's obviously So what other white boys has she fixed? And
I didn't catch that the first time.
I didn't either. My friend pointed out to me, but then it's very clear in there, obviously. But so we find out who Paul. I'll give you the honors. Who was that broken white boy that she fixed? The white that we get at the end.
That would be everyone's favorite double, triple, quadruple,
quintuple agent,
secret agent, Bucky Barnes.
Bucky Barnes,
Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that it is established that in Infinity War, he will be completely broken of his program.
Yeah.
So this is when he's either still going through that, or he's like he's
Just
at the
fresh
other end, but
from
now he's
that?
got a
Yeah.
heel.
Uh-huh.
And he's being referred to as the White Wolf by the people of this area. And I don't know if either of you two are aware, the White Wolf is a character, of
In the
course
comics,
it is,
right?
in the comic,
I heard,
but
yeah.
it's very much not Bucky Barnes.
Yeah, which I'm saying that, I was reading that's a chance for them to actually have Bucky transition into this character.
Which will be fun because in the comics, Bucky becomes Captain America.
Yeah.
So they're like, now we're not doing that. So, which I like. I'm kind of going to enjoy because I feel like we were saying Tony Stark's going to go away in some fashion after Infinity War. I think Captain America is going well.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Because, like, to your point, Bucky does become Captain America at one point, and I thought this would be the way to do that. Because, like, the actor is probably tired of playing this role or whatever, and this could be a fresh new face in that role. And then also in certain strains of the comic books, from what I've been told, Falcon becomes Captain America for a little while.
I can see that, and I can see that being what the MCU goes with at this point, because it's clear Bucky isn't going to be Captain America. So now you have Falcon, and I think he fits that character mold more, and obviously slightly more wisecracking than the current Captain America. But then again, anybody would be a bit more wisecracking than the current Captain America, so I think it would be a welcome change. Yes.
And what is it with people losing their left arm? Bucky lost his left arm. Claw lost his left arm.
Now we just need someone to lose their left leg. And then I think maybe
Black Panther, aka droopy eyes and missing arms.
Yeah, see, doesn't what's his name? Nick Fury, isn't his left eye gone?
Yep, yes it is. I think that
Thor at the end of Ragnarok. Yeah.
That's his right eye though.
That's
right.
That's
awkward.
Well, I feel like then that everyone, with the exception of the writers of Thor Ragnarok, then must be right-handed, and they're just like, oh, no one needs their left body appendages. We're fine without those. And then obviously the writer of Thor Ragnarok is a lefty, and was like, no, right eye, thank you very much.
The last group of people waiting for representation are left-handers, and there's just no love.
Yes. When will they catch a break? I mean, Ned Flanders tried, damn it.
I know, with the left thorium. Yeah.
And then, with this movie, it just, these Marvel movies in general is just like, look at the money that they're sinking into these things. The first Blade movie came out in 98, like I said. It was $45 million. Blade 2 was $54 million. And then Blade 3 was $64 million. Coming to America was like 40-something million. And The Lion King was 40-something or 50-something million. I only bring these movies up because I referenced them, when I when I was talking earlier or whatever. And here we are with Black Panther, $200 million for a movie, Now, when they come out with another Blade movie, which I'm in my room knocking on wood right now, I hope they do. Just think of the money and the technology and the resources they're going to pool into this movie. How could it not be great? Unless they make a white Blade.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe in jinxing, but I really hope I didn't just now with that.
No,
I mean, I bet you anything there will be a large number of people that will just go, oh, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
Yeah. Let me show you
How do
Ghost
we
in the
count
Shell,
those?
Great Wall, Doctor Strange,
Last Samurai.
Yeah, Last Samurai.
47 Ronin or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
One
more white savior movie.
The Immortal movies, the 300 movies.
Yep.
The Egypt movie, whatever.
Yeah, so every movie.
Pretty much, yes.
No.
But yes,
all right.
I don't know.
I think I'm done ranting now.
I think that's good. Yeah. I did wanted to say the last little thing. Did anyone just love I wanted to touch a little more. Sorry, I know we're wrapping up, but the old and the new, the combination of the old and new in Wakanda, and I loved how we stayed in there the whole time. I really want. I think it'd be just a huge seller if they had figurines of those of the black sand, the movable black sand. I love the opening credits, and then kind of when they're doing the briefing for the caravan mission at the beginning, and he swipes the top of the caravan off to look and stuff. That was some cool ass shit. Just that was a perfect combination of that old and new. in Wakanda.
Yeah, really well done.
Mm-hmm. I just love that. Yeah, I want like Black Panther figurines just made out of that like dark black suit.
Yeah.
And it just shows you the superior technology that they have over Tony Stark.
Yeah. And also, if you think about it for too long, that's definitely a design choice by the people that made that technology, because it is nowhere near as efficient as just like hologram stuff. But damn it looks good.
It looks really cool. Yeah. All right, that was my last little bit. Anybody got anything to throw in before we say our byes?
I can tell you, I'm done.
All right,
I'm done. I'm spent.
I
want to go watch it again.
You snuck a couple in there already because you're a professional. But where can people find you?
All right, you can find me on Twitter at It's B-Rob. That's ITSBROB. If you want to talk professional wrestling and any other general shenanigans, that's the place you do it. I host a podcast called The Random Rambles with Rob, and you can follow that on Twitter also at 3R Show. You can follow me on Instagram, just looking for The Random Rambles with Rob, where you can see me walk around the hallowed halls of Walmart, vlogging, as the young people say. And you can also go to randomrobcast.com, to where you can find different ways to help and support the show, and look at my guest list, and look at the blog section that I don't even use. So yeah, there you go.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming on, and we definitely need to get you back on soon to cover a series of unfortunate events coming out relatively soon. So look out for that in future. Anything else? Anyone else?
I'm good.
Okay, I think.
Yeah, I'm happy.
I think that's a lot. So with all of that being said, I've been Paul.
I've been Brian.
And I've been B-Rob.
All right, bye, folks.
In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Hang on a minute, lads. I've got a great idea.
Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.